watching German Gyan. My name is Gyan and we are up with the second part of sentence structure video. This one This is gonna be the A2 sentence structure. I hope you have watched the even sentence structure. If not, then video is here. Make sure to subscribe German Gyan. If you are watching for the very first time, then my name is Nidhi and I am a CEO and the founder of German Gyan. German Gyan provides you online offline classes. We do provide teacher training program, exam preparation, brush up classes and whatnot. So German Gyan is a one-stop solution for each and everything you can think around German. Let's start this video because I am very excited. Are you? Let's go.
German A2 level sentence structures. The first sentence structure is of subordinate conjunctions. Now subordinate conjunctions means like these are the connectors which connects two sentences. Now the first sentence is main clause and the second sentence is subordinate clause. Now talking about the sentence structure, so the structure of the main clause will be subject, verb and object, and then your connector will come, and then the sentence structure for the subordinate clause is subject, object and then verb. That means you are going to place the verb at the end of the sentence when you are using subordinate conjunctions, and the verb goes at the end in a sentence in subordinate clause. Please remember that you are not going to change the structure of the main clause. You only have to write the verb at the end in the subordinate clause. Now the connectors which follows these sentence structure is while, da, damit, das, ob, obwohl, wenn, falls, während, bis, seitdem. For example, ich bleibe zu Hause, weil ich krank bin means I stay at home because I'm sick. Now as you can see in this sentence, the first sentence which is ich bleibe zu Hause is a main clause and the verb is at the second place. Now here comes the connector and then the sentence is ich krank bin. Now in this sentence, because this is a subordinate clause, so your verb is at the end which is bin. So like this you have to follow the sentence structure. Another example is geht nicht zur Party, weil keine Zeit hat means he isn't going to the party because he has no time. The second type of connectors are adverbial connectors. Now adverbial connectors means that your sentence structure will be subject, verb, object, then your adverbial connector will come, and right after the connector you have to write the verb, and then the subject will come and then the rest of the sentence. Now adverbial connectors are deshalb, deswegen, darum and trotzdem. For example, es regnet, deshalb nehme ich einen Regenschirm. So here what I have done, I have just written the verb nehmen right after deshalb. Another example is es regnet, trotzdem gehen wir spazieren. Now again the sentence structure is same. The first sentence es regnet is normal like the subject and the verb. Now because there is no object, so I haven't written anything. But after trotzdem, the first thing which I have written is the verb. So the same thing you have to do, and remember you are going to conjugate the verb according to the subject. The third sentence structure is of perfect tense. Now we all know that for perfect tense we have three tenses in German language, that is perfect, prateritum and plusquamperfect. But in A2 level we only discuss perfect and prateritum. So the sentence structure of perfect tense is that first your subject will come, then at the second place your auxiliary verb will come. The auxiliary verbs are haben or sein, and then your object will come, and at the end of the sentence you will write the past participle of your main verb. Now the question is why at the second place we should write haben or why should we write sein. So the main difference is that if there is a motion, or I mean if there is a change in a place from A to B, at that time you can write sein, or there is a change in the state, at that time also you can write sein, otherwise use the haben. For example, ich habe gestern Fußball gespielt means I played soccer yesterday. So the sentence structure is at the first place here is the subject ich, then at the second place is your auxiliary verb haben, and then your gestern word and Fußball, and at the end of the sentence is the past participle of the main verb which is gespielt. Another example is ist nach Hause gegangen, means he went home. Again here at the second place the verb is sein, which is conjugated according to the subject, and then the past participle of the verb gehen is gegangen, which is at the end of the sentence. The next sentence structure is of preteritum. Now, the sentence structure of preteritum and present tense is same. That means first comes your subject, then your verb, and then other elements, and then the object. Now, what you have to remember is that in preteritum form, you have to write the verb in the preteritum tense. Means, like in present tense, you have to conjugate the verb according to the subject, but conjugate the verb in the preteritum tense. For example, ich ging gestern ins Kino. I went to the cinema. So here the sentence structure, as you can see, is same as present, but instead of gehen I have written ging, which is the preteritum form of the gehen verb. Another example is hatte einen Unfall, means he had an accident. Now again the sentence structure is same as present, but the conjugation of the verb at the second place, which is of haben, is hatte and not hat. So this is the basic difference between present and preteritum. The next sentence structure is of genitive. Now genitive is used to show the belongingness. For example, to whom a particular things belong. The sentence structure is first comes the subject or the noun, and then the genitive noun. Genitive noun means the owner of that particular object, and then the verb, and then rest of the object. So for example, das Buch des Lehrers ist interessant. Now here what I have done, first I have written das Buch, that is the subject, or you can also say the noun. And then after this I have written des Lehrers. Now Lehrer is the owner of that book. So remember, first you have to write the object, and then you have to write the owner of that object. Then comes the verb, and then the rest of the sentence. So the sentence translation is, the teacher's book is interesting. Second sentence is, Die Farbe des Autos gefällt mir, means the color of the car pleases me. Now again, first I have written Die Farbe and then the owner, means the car. Second thing which you have to remember while using genitive is that if you are using masculine or neutral thing for the genitive case, then there comes the ending s or es, means the object takes the ending either s or es. For example, in the first sentence the ending is s with letters, and in the second also the ending is s with auto. Then next sentence structure is of comparative. So comparative is basically the sentence structure for adjective. Like how can you use an adjective in the comparative form or in the comparative form. So the sentence structure is, first comes the subject, then the verb, and then the comparative adjective. Then you have to write als and then noun and pronoun with which you are comparing the thing. For example, mein Bruder ist größer als ich. Now at the first place I have the subject, mein Bruder, then the verb ist, and then I have written grosser. Grosser is the comparative form of the adjective gross. So like this you have to write the comparative form of the adjective, then you have to write the als, which means than, and then you have to write the noun or the pronoun with which you are actually comparing your subject. So the translation is, my brother is taller than I am. Second example is, das Auto ist schneller als das Fahrrad. So again, das Auto is the subject, ist is the verb, then schnell is the adjective, and schneller is the comparative form of the adjective. Then comes the als, then the noun or the pronouns with which I am comparing the subject. So the translation is, the car is faster than the bicycle. Now remember, if you want to frame the comparative form of any adjective, then the basic rule is that you have to put er to that particular adjective. But of course there are some changes, like you have to put the umlauts also. So that is a big rule, but the basic structure is this. Next sentence structure is of superlative. Now this is also a way of using an adjective in the superlative form. So superlative form of adjective shows the highest degree of the adjective. And the sentence structure is, first comes the subject, then the verb, and then der, die, das means the article of the noun, then adjective, and then the noun for which you are using the adjective. Now remember, adjective comes with the ending, and the endings are ste or este. For example, sie ist die schönste Frau im Raum. So Z is the subject, ist is the verb, then D is the article according to the Frau, and the adjective I have used for Frau is schon, and here comes the ending ste, because in superlative we put the ending. So the sentence translation is, she is the most beautiful woman in the room. Now this sentence shows that in that room, particular room, there is no other beautiful woman except that particular woman. Then second is, ist der schnellste Läufer der Gruppe, means he is the fastest runner of the group, means in that group there is no other person who can run as fast as him. The another sentence structure of using adjective as in superlative form is subject, then verb, then then adjective stem, and then the ending sten. So this sentence structure is basically used when you are using the adjective and then you are not writing any noun after that. For example, mein Hund läuft am schnellsten. So here in this sentence you can see that I have written schnellsten and I haven't written anything after that. So when your adjective comes at the end of the sentence, at that time you have to use am plus sten with the adjective stem. So the translation is, my dog runs the fastest. Another example is, sie arbeitet am effizientesten, means she works the most efficiently. So again the rule is same. I have used am plus adjective stem and then sten just because there is no noun after adjective. Demonstrative pronoun as in subject. So we have two demonstrative pronouns, which is diese and welche. Now both these pronouns have an table like we have in bestimmt article or in unbestimmte article, so that these pronouns also have the table. And the sentence structure for diese is your demonstrative pronoun in the nominative case, because you are using demonstrative pronoun as a subject, that's why you have to take it from the nominative case. Then comes the verb and then the rest of the sentence. Now in the structure of welche, again what you have to use, interrogative pronoun in nominative case only, because again you are using it as a subject. Then come the verb, then the possessive pronoun, then noun, and of course the question mark, because you are using, like welche is used for questions. Now the example is, dieser ist mein Freund, means this one is my friend. So I have picked dieser from the nominative case. Second is, welcher ist dein Freund, means which one is your friend. So again the rule is same. I have picked welcher from nominative case. So remember, if you are using demonstrative pronoun as a subject, then you have to pick it from the nominative case only. Then using demonstrative pronoun as a direct object. Now whenever you are using demonstrative pronoun as a direct object, at that time you have to pick the pronoun from the accusative case. So your sentence structure will be, for diese, subject, then verb, then your demonstrative pronoun from the accusative case, and then the rest of the sentence. And for welche, your interrogative pronoun from accusative case, then verb, and then the subject. So your example will be, ich sehe diesen, means I see this one. And for welche, your structure will be, or the sentence will be, welchen sehe ich, means which one do I see. So here I have picked diesen and welchen from the accusative case. Demonstrative pronoun as an indirect object. So for diese, the sentence structure is subject, verb, then demonstrative pronoun from the dative case, and then the rest of the sentence. And for welche, the sentence structure is interrogative pronoun from welchem, from dative case, then verb, then subject, and then the direct object. For example, ich gebe diesem Mann das Buch, means I give this man the book. So here diesem is from the dative case. Second example, welchem Mann gebe ich das Buch, means to which man do I give the book. Here welchem is again from the dative case. So you have the complete table of diese and welche. You have to follow the table according to the case of the sentence. The sentence structure of reflexive pronoun. So you have two cases, that is accusative case and dative case. So for the accusative case, the structure is subject, verb, then reflexive pronoun, and then the rest of the sentence. And for the dative case, your sentence structure is subject plus verb, then reflexive pronoun from the dative case, then object, and then other parts of the body. For example, ich wasche mich am Morgen, means I wash myself in the morning. So here mich is from the accusative case. because here you are talking about the complete body, and whenever we talk about the complete body we always use the reflexive pronoun from the accusative case. Second example, ich wasche mir die Hände means I wash hands for myself. So here mir is from the dative case and die Hände is the other body part. So whenever comes another body part in a sentence or you talk about the part of the body, at that time you have to put the reflexive pronoun from the dative case. That is why I have used mir over here. The sentence structure of relative pronoun. Now relative pronoun have two sentence structures. The first one is of single comma and the second is double comma. So here we are discussing the double comma sentence structure. Now in double comma sentence structure, remember first thing that relative pronoun always follows a Nebensatz. That means the verb goes at the end of the sentence. Now the sentence structure is main clause, means first comes the main clause, then the comma, and then comes the relative pronoun. Now remember, because relative pronoun has come into the sentence, so the verb will go at the sentence, at the end of the sentence. So your after relative pronoun will come rest of the sentence, then you will have to write the verb, then put a comma and again write the verb of the first sentence, that means of the main clause. You have to write the verb over here and then the object. So your sentence will be der Mann, comma, der hier wohnt, comma, ist mein Lehrer. So what I have written, first I have written der Mann, which is a part of main clause. Then I have put a comma and then der, which is a relative pronoun. Now because here this is a relative pronoun, so the verb I will write at the end of this sentence. So after relative pronoun I have written here and then the verb, because here it ends the sentence, and then again I will put the comma and after comma I have written the verb. Now this verb is from the main clause, which is der Mann. So here is the verb is over here and then your object. So the complete sentence is der Mann, der hier wohnt, ist mein Lehrer, means the man who lives here is my teacher. Another example, die Frau, die ich sehe, ist meine Nachbarin. Again, ist meine Nachbarin, this sentence is the part of die Frau only. So you have two sentences, die Frau ist meine Nachbarin and then ich sehe die Frau. So the second sentence which I am using, ich sehe die Frau, for this die Frau I am using the relative pronoun die. So my sentence will be die Frau, comma, die ich sehe, comma, ist meine Nachbarin. So like this you have to follow the sentence structure of double comma in relative pronoun. Verben mit festen Präpositionen. So this is basically the verbs with the fixed preposition. Now this means that whenever you are using some verbs and it has a fixed preposition, then you have to use that particular preposition in that sentence. For example, ich warte auf den Bus means I am waiting for the bus. Now if you are translating this sentence in English, then you are saying I am waiting for the bus. So according to this, in German you should have written ich warte für den Bus, because you know in English you are writing for, and for we write für in German. But why we are not using für and we are using auf? Because the verb warten has a fixed preposition which is auf, so you have to follow the same preposition. Another example is sie denkt an ihren Urlaub, means she is thinking about her vacation. Now here the verb is denken and the preposition is an, which is fixed with this verb. So you have to follow this thing. That means you have to learn the verbs with the fixed preposition so that in the next time whenever you are using these verbs you are not making any mistake. So the basic sentence structure is that your subject, then verb, and then preposition, and then the object for which you are using that preposition. So like this follows the sentence structure, and these are the sentence. Conjunctive zwei using Wurden plus infinitive. Now you use Wurden plus infinitive in the sentence in conjunctive zwei when there is an action verb in the sentence. So your sentence structure is subject, then Wurden, which is conjugated according to the subject, then object, and then at the end of the sentence comes the action verb in the infinitive form. So your sentence is ich würde gern nach Japan reisen, means I would like to travel to Japan. So here I have written würden at the second place, which is conjugated according to the subject, and then the action verb reisen is in the end of the sentence. Then second example, wir würden das Haus kaufen, wenn wir genug Geld hätten, means we would buy the house if we had enough money. So again, würden is conjugated at the second place according to the subject, and kaufen is in the infinitive form. Conjunctive zwei with hätte or wäre. Now the sentence structure is, first comes your subject, then hätte or wäre, and then object or Ergänzung. Now remember that hätte or wäre, this you are going to conjugate according to the subject. So first sentence is, ich hätte mehr Zeit, means I would have more time. So here I have written hätte according to the ich. Second is, sie wäre glücklich, means she would be happy. So again wäre is conjugated according to the subject. And third is, I would like to be in Vienna. So ich wäre gern in Wien. Conjunctive zwei mit Modalverben. Now remember that if you are using modal verb in the conjunctive zwei, at that time you have to conjugate the modal verbs according to the conjunctive zwei form only. So your sentence structure will be like present only. That means first comes the subject, then your modal verb in cause zwei, then object, and then your action verb in the infinitive form. For example, ich könnte dir helfen, means I could help you. So here I have used könnte, which is the conjugation in conjunctive zwei. Second, du solltest mehr lernen, means you should study more. Third, wir könnten ins Kino gehen, means we could go to the cinema. NVDA. Now NVDA is not a grammar topic. This is a basic sentence structure which you follow when you are in E2 level and when you write two objects in a sentence. Now the condition for using NVDA is that both the objects should be noun. So your sentence structure will be, first comes the noun, that is your subject, then your verb, then dative object, and then your accusative object. Remember, dative object will always be indirect object and accusative will be your direct object. So first example is, der Lehrer gibt dem Schüler ein Buch, means the teacher is giving the book to the student. So here the book is the direct object and the student is the indirect object. So we have used NVDA, and according to NVDA, first comes the indirect object, that is dem Schüler, and then the direct object, which is ein Buch. Another example is, ich gebe meinem Vater die Information, means I am giving the information to my father. Again, my father is the indirect object and the information is the direct object. NVAD. Now NVAD is again not a grammar topic. This is a basic sentence structure. Again you follow in E2 level when you write two objects in a sentence. But here the condition is that both the objects are pronoun. So your structure will be noun, that is a subject, then your verb, then your accusative object, and then the dative object. Again the rule is same, that indirect object is dative, direct object is accusative, and your sentence will be, der Lehrer gibt es ihm, means the teacher gives it to him. So here es is the accusative object and ihm is the dative object. Second, ich gebe sie ihm, means I am giving it to him. And third is, die Mutter schenkt sie ihr, means the mother gives it to her. Pronomen before nomen. Now when you are using two objects in a sentence, one is noun, another is pronoun, at that time first you have to write the pronoun and then the noun. So your structure will be noun, that means again your subject, then your verb, and then pronoun, and then noun. So your example will be, der Lehrer gibt es dem Schüler, means the teacher giving it to the students. Second, der Lehrer gibt ihm ein Buch, means the teacher gives a book to him. And third, ich gebe es dem Kind, means I give it to the child. E2 level is a grammar topic of adjective ending. That means whenever you are writing an adjective, you have to put the ending. For this you have a table. Now when you are using adjective ending in nominative case, then your sentence structure will be that first your adjective will come, then your adjective will take the ending, and then you have to write the subject, then verb, and then the object. So your first example, der kluge Mann liest ein Buch, means the smart man reads a book. So this is the example of bestimmt article. Then ein schöner Tag beginnt, means a beautiful day begins. So this is the example of ein bestimmt article. And gutes Essen ist wichtig, means good food is important. And this is the example of null article. So in the first sentence, adjective ending is E with kluge. In second sentence, adjective ending is ER with schon. And in third sentence, adjective ending is ES with gut. Adjective ending with accusative case. Your sentence structure will be subject, your verb, then adjective with its ending, and then the object. Now remember that the ending you put in the adjective is according to the object for which you are using that particular adjective. So example is ich sehe den kleinen Hund, means I see the small dog. Here adjective ending is en with klein. Second, sie kauft ein neues Kleid, means she is buying a new dress. Here adjective ending is es with neu. And third, wir hören schöne Musik, means we are listening to beautiful music. So here adjective ending is e with schön. Adjective ending with dative case, again the sentence structure is subject plus verb, then adjective with its ending, and then the object. Now example is ich helfe dem alten Mann, means I help the old man. Adjective ending is en with alt. Second, schenkt einer netten Frau Blumen, means he gives a nice woman flowers. And third, wir sprechen mit guten Freunden, means we are talking with good friends. The last sentence structure is of relative pronoun, but this time this is in single comma. So for the single comma, the structure is first comes your sentence, that is your first sentence, then your comma, then relative pronoun. Now remember, relative pronoun frames a Nebensatz or a subordinate clause. That means the verb goes at the end of the sentence. So right after the relative pronoun, you have to write the rest of the sentence, and then at the end of the sentence goes the verb. So your example will be, das ist der Roman, den ich lesen möchte, means this is the novel that I want to read. Second example, das ist der Kuli, den ich gestern gekauft habe, means this is the pen that I bought yesterday. And third sentence is, das ist die Pizza, die ich gestern gegessen habe, means this is the pizza I ate yesterday.
So guys, how was this video? I hope you enjoyed watching the A2 sentence structure. Now, I hope you're a master of A1 and A2 sentence structure. Do follow this series and we'll catch you in the next one where you're gonna know B1 sentence structures. Cheers! We'll catch you in the next one and keep learning German with German Gyan. Take care.